Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? Welcome to fourth quarter, where we're the fans, by the fans, for the fans. What's up, man? What's going on? Hey, happy Juneteenth. We know what it is, man. We know what it is, man. What's going on? How'd y'all spend y'all Juneteenth? Y'all were chilling? Craig, what you do?
I ain't do nothing. I just chilled around the house, did a couple of things around the house, and that's pretty much it. I was gonna cut the grass, but nah, it was too hot, so I'm gonna just wait.
Yeah, it was hot. It
I'm gonna
was
save it.
hot. Yeah, Mo, what you do, Mo? You relax? You
Same
chill?
thing. Yeah, did this laundry cleaned up a little bit around the crib. Put away some of the stuff I brought back from school. Yeah, just yeah.
Same thing, man. Same thing, man. I chilled out, relaxed, ran some errands. Nothing big, nothing big. But Craig, you called it out. Mo, did you call it out too?
What happened? Carl, what out?
Did you call out Boston? Is the NBA champions?
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did.
You did. All right. So, hey, Boston Celtics are the 2024 NBA champions. This is the sixth different type of champion. Jalen Brown won Finals MVP. Um, People thought it was a discussion, but I thought it was probably Jalen Brown. But we can definitely talk about it if anybody feels differently. But it was close. Shout out to Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. They're a part of history, man. And I did pick Denver Boston finals with Denver going back to back, but Boston's now the champions. Respect. Craig, I know you picked them off the break. Mo, you picked them. Craig, what are your thoughts on the Boston Celtics as NBA champions, man?
Um, I mean, I don't really care either way, because it doesn't really. I mean, it's not my team, so I don't really care. But in terms of them, just what they did, what they accomplished this year, I mean, it's been what, like 5-6 years in the making, I guess. They've been to the conference finals like 5 of the last 6 years, they've been to the finals twice. I'm happy for Tatum. I'm happy for Brown. At least maybe this will quiet some of the doubters or quiet some of the skeptics about Jason Tatum for now, I guess. I think people still are going to be out there still trying to, I guess, they're going to have something to say, because I think he hasn't won an MVP, didn't win a finals MVP. So that's still going to be out there. He didn't win the Larry Bird uh, trophy. So there's going to be still things out there that people are going to say. And also, he didn't play well in the finals for the most part, like at least in terms of shooting. Everything else he did pretty well. But this is number 18 for the Celtics. They have the most in the NBA now. Um, I think they were the favorites, at least to come out of the East before the season started. They ended up just running away with everything, and I think they were pretty much dominant the whole way through for the most part. I mean, they did have some help, I guess, with teams having injuries and things like that. So that helped them out, but I think they still would have won anyway, regardless of who was there. But it just was a little bit easier for them. But what they did in the finals against Luka, a healthy Dallas Mavericks team, a lot of people thought Dallas was going to win the series. I mean, their defense was insane. So I got to give them credit for that, for finishing the. I ain't saying I don't want to say finish the story, but that's kind of basically what they did. They finished this part of the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely the favorites for next year already, according to
Yep.
Vegas. So
Yep.
uh, this is the chance for them to be now I don't want to say a dynasty, but at least go back to back.
It would it
Have
would
an
it would
opportunity.
put. We'll
Huh?
talk about that later. But they go back to back, it would etch them in history, though.
Well, they
It
have an
wouldn't be a
opportunity.
dynasty. It wouldn't be a dynasty, but it would be.
The the
Yeah,
league hasn't
it's not.
seen
It's not that many. Yeah, it's not that many back-to-back champions. So they would
uh,
be
Golden
like
State.
exclusive. Yeah. No,
So
I'm just saying it's not. Yeah, Golden State was probably the last. I mean, it's not that many dynasties. You probably say probably the Boston Celtics with Russell, probably the Magic Kareem Lakers, Michael Jordan Bulls, Shaq and Kobe, and Steph and the Warriors. That's probably the dynasties. If Boston was the dynasty, they probably had to win a couple more, but if they went back to back, that would put them in like some good history there. But Mo, what did you think about the Boston Celtics, man? They
Man,
NBA champions.
I mean, I loved it. They man, they just, I mean, they showed they won it all year long. You know, shout out to their coach, man, becoming I think the second youngest coach ever to win it.
He coached his butt off. Yeah, he coaches.
Yeah, I think the second since Bill Russell did in the I think it was late 60s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And he did it his way. He never let anybody change his ways of doing things. The way everybody questioned the way he was doing offense, you know, but he never changed himself. He told his players just keep shooting. You know, we're gonna keep doing it this way and play defensive ball. So I mean, I thought they were the favorites all year long. You know, they didn't mount really under the pressure. And I just hope a lot of people don't try to diminish the championship or devalue it because a lot of people when their run was hurt. They got nothing to do with that. Like we talk about all the time, like that's not on them. If people can't stay healthy or people get hurt, it's the name of the game. They gonna play what's in front of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna,
I agree with that.
We're gonna devalue them. We can devalue a lot of teams through different sports that have faced teams that didn't have their full strength and won, and we can
They won.
So they won. At the end of the day, they did what they was asked to do.
They won.
I definitely think, yeah, the East gonna get better, but it's like looking at it now. When we could talk about, I know we'll talk about that later with free agency, but like looking at the teams, who really can go where, or who's out there that can go to a team in the East right now that can really change the pace. If Boston bring back
that's a good one.
If Boston bring back their full team, what team in the East could really make a move that really could change? Boston wouldn't be the favorite right now to come out of the East again.
We can have a discussion right now. Maybe, maybe Paul George goes to Philly.
I mean, I've heard about that. Paul George possibly Philly. Paul George possibly New York. I've heard about that. But my thing is, does that move by itself put them over Boston? You know, put New York or Philly over Boston right now. You put.
I think. See, I would say Philly, but it's always if Embiid is healthy.
Right. But I mean, do we say just and do we say
maybe the Bucks? The Bucks might challenge them.
I mean, if they healthy, I mean, I would love to see that with a full and well coached Damian Lillard. But they got to improve defensively, like how their intensity defensively and how they finish fourth quarters. They ain't beating Boston like that. No, not at all.
Okay, so
Philly.
No Philly.
Let me say this: a fully healthy.
You don't think New York with Paul George would give them any?
Yeah, I think that.
You think it would? You think
I think that, but I'm gonna say this though. I like a more healthy. And I would hope motivated Milwaukee team. I think with Middleton, if you got Middleton, Giannis, and Lillard, I think they get that can.
You think that would push Boston? You think
if they motivate and they improve. If it's the same type of team as far as their motivation, their defense, and all that, no. But I think one thing that also helps them is they brought Darvin Ham back as an assistant.
Yeah.
I think that's going to help them. You know, I think that was a very smart move bringing Darvin Ham back there as the top assistant. I think that's going to, bring some stuff to it. So I think them right now, but I'm not. You know what? Paul George, I would say Paul George with a healthy Randall though. If you just bring Paul George there and Randall's still out or hurt, I don't think that with Brunson alone pushes Boston. I don't know that.
If they had Paul George and Randall,
right, healthy and productive,
a healthy Randall with Brunson, they can run a tough five.
Yeah.
With Anobi, they can run a small. They can run a tough. They can run a straight. How tall is Randall? 6'10"?
Yeah, he about that.
You can run him at center. Could you put him at center?
I mean, you could. I mean, look at what Boston was doing at times this postseason. Horford was running center. They had Tatum at the 4. You know, checking.
Yeah.
So
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, I understand that. That's because Boston run 5 out.
right.
Craig, you don't think to Mo's point, he asked this question. What team do you think could challenge Boston if they get somebody in free agency? If there is one. If there is one.
I mean, right now, nobody.
You don't think Paul George to Philly?
Oh, if you're saying somebody get a free agent.
Yeah. Somebody get a free agent. Yeah, that was his question. Somebody get a free agent.
I mean, let me see who's out there.
I think it's a good free agent class. We're gonna go deeper into it next week, but I think it's not that good.
I mean, it's a little. It's okay to me. It's only like four or five people top heavy, and then the rest of them are okay. But I mean, outside of Paul George, maybe LeBron. I mean, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So
nah, he's not going nowhere.
George, maybe James Harden, but I don't think so because he doesn't play defense well enough.
Yeah.
If Paul George goes to New York, that'd probably be the only one, just because I don't know about Embiid and him being healthy for the playoffs, because he's not really consistent to get. Excuse me, he's not really consistent to be there for the playoffs. And Milwaukee, I'm just not sold on Milwaukee right now. Maybe next year, if they come out the gate hot. And they pick up their defensive play, because they just weren't, like most said, they just weren't that good on defense. They weren't good before they got Doc, and they just weren't even. I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to get better, and they just didn't. They played better to me overall before they got Doc, but it just didn't. It never happened in the playoffs. Plus, they didn't have Giannis and everything like that. So I'm not convinced with the Bucks right now. I need to see a little bit more from that team. So I guess if New York were to get Paul George and they had the same starting 5 that they got, and then they just added George, I think that'd probably be the only team I think that could really compete with them. I would say if the Sixers got him, I think they could compete as well. But Embiid he's so inconsistent with his health, you just don't know, and you're gonna have Paul George and Maxey against the Celtics, possibly without Embiid. I don't know, man. I think they're gonna have another easy path, unless free agency gets turned from the west to the east. And a lot of players.
I ain't gonna lie, Craig. I'm not gonna lie. If Paul George was on that team and Embiid played like he played this year in the playoffs, they would at least beat the Knicks. I think so.
I mean, if the Knicks were healthy, if the Knicks were healthy 100%, that'd have been a different Knicks team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be next year. Gonna be interesting. I hope everybody's healthy, because Orlando might get Klay Thompson. It's gonna be interesting. It is. It's gonna be interesting.
Wherever Paul George goes is pretty much. I mean, if he goes to the East anyway, whoever's team he goes to.
Can the Clippers offer him more money? I wonder.
Under the rules, don't they get the best crack? Don't they get the biggest crack?
You get the Supermax or the biggest contract, whatever the Supermax, the max, whatever it is. He gets that with the team.
Oh yeah. He says he gets 4 years, 212. Yeah, or 4 years, 221 if he resigns to LA.
Siakam just got 4 years, I think 170, 180, something like that.
Yep, and Maxey's probably gonna get the Tyrese Maxey's probably gonna get a 4 year, 200 something too.
You said Pascal he signed, or he got?
Yeah.
I mean, from my understanding, Pacers.
He's about to sign. Yeah, he's probably about to sign.
Yeah, I think it was 4 years, about 180 million.
It's 4 years, 189 $189 million. He's probably gonna sign it. I would if I was him. I would, and I think Philly's gonna offer Maxey the same. So those two are probably going to be off. LeBron James, you're right. Anobi, I don't know if the Knicks might have the money. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about this. DeMar DeRozan, somebody else too that could that's going to be interesting. I think it's gonna be fun. Next week's gonna be fun. All right, the Mavs got gentlemanly swept. Mo, why do you think that is?
I mean, I think they didn't get enough out of Kyrie. It was inconsistent.
Mm.
Also, just and we I think we touched on this a little bit earlier with Boston with the 5 out. I think Dallas didn't really run sets to expose that consistently. Like throughout the series, every time we looked around, Mavericks would come up the court and you saw Jason Tatum checking Lively or checking Gafford. I'm like, throw the ball down there. Like force Tatum to defend, force the refs had to make a call. It was like you still was running ISO sets and other sets. And I'm like, you sitting there clearly with Tatum just checking Lively and it wasn't even off of switches. Like I'm looking at the game, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, why we can't call set plays to get the ball down low? Or even if you tell them, even if you tell Luke or Kyrie, yo, get it down low until they make an adjustment, and then if they got double or they make an adjustment, then we can kick out. I think it was too much isolation ball and it wasn't working. And I think Boston's others, I think we talked about this before the series started. Boston's others clearly outplayed Mavericks others. So if you talk about White, Pritchard, Horford, some of the others, they Porzingis, they well outplayed Washington and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Gafford and Lively. They totally outplayed them. So I think that was really a difference in the series.
Yeah, I kinda agree with you. I think that and we'll get to this in my next point, but like everything's a copycat league, but Boston runs a lot of 5 out, and Dallas kind of you know. And shout out to Jason Tiff Hoops Tonight, man, awesome podcast. I listened to that a lot. He actually breaks down the game. He was saying that Dallas didn't run 5 out. Dallas offense is basically vanilla, like what you were saying, Mo. A lot of isolation, a lot of pick and rolls, just like a standard vanilla offense. And if Boston was able to move the ball and switch, you're gonna end up getting mismatches like Derek Lively on Tatum or Brown because Boston is switching so much because they're running 5 out, which means every five one of their players can shoot, go to the hole, dribble, create their own shot. That's what 5 out is. It's creating. Everybody has the ability to create their own shot. So I think that was too much for them. And some got to go on Luca, man. We all know this. Like to be a champion, you got to dedicate on the defensive side of the ball for your guard. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get to that later. Luca's okay, and some of it's on Kyrie. He played terrible against Boston. In Boston especially, and you just can't do that when you're in that position. Kyrie's been to the finals before, and he's hit a big shot. So that was just really surprising. Craig, why the Mavericks get gentlemen swept, man?
The well, first it starts with Luca. I think he didn't shoot the ball. He didn't shoot the ball great from three. So I think he took a lot of threes and they just weren't getting knocked down. He couldn't really get to the basket. Just couldn't really do a lot of things consistently that he's been accustomed to do. But he also doesn't go up against a really good / really great defensive team 5 games in a row like this. And in the regular season, you get the opportunity to go against a good team, and you might go against a terrible team. So this series, it was just like Luka just couldn't get consistent offense going. He had a couple games, where he had almost 30 points a game or something like that, but it just wasn't a good percentage in terms. It wasn't efficient, is the word I'm looking for. He wasn't efficient enough. Kyrie's another guy who just wasn't efficient at all. In that game 4 where they blew him out, he played. I mean, he didn't play a lot of minutes, but he was very efficient. Game 3, the same thing. He led the team in scoring. I think he averaged 28 a game at Dallas, but they only averaged like 14 a game at Boston. So it was just, I don't know if it was because of the crowd or because of he just wasn't comfortable or whatever the case may be, but he didn't look like the same Kyrie Irving in Dallas as in Boston. And that's what they needed to win that game. They needed another scorer, big time scorer like he has been in the past to help that team win. Another thing was the overall defense. Like one team is really great at defense, very well coached, and the other team they had flashes, especially against Minnesota, against Oklahoma City, and then in game 4, when they blew Boston out, they had flashes of what they could be if they all just locking on defense. But I mean, it's kind of really hard when you don't really have a lot of good defenders out there, especially perimeter defenders, and you get exposed in a series because they can just watch film and figure out what you're uncomfortable with and just expose you like they did with Luka. So Boston just exposed Luka. I mean, and it's also hard when you're the Mavericks and you have to, I guess the word is compensate for one guy or a couple guys who just are not really good on defense. So that just wears on you and it takes a toll on you. So, yeah, man, I just think that Dallas, they just had a lot of missed opportunities in this series, especially in like game 2 and in game 3. Luka fouling out really hurt them. This series could be 2-2 or could be 3-2 right now. And it could be still going on, but unfortunately it's not. So
that was big. That was huge.
Yeah, man, I just think they needed, and they also needed another score, another consistent score. They just never got that.
Yeah.
PJ Washington, who I thought it was going to be,
yeah,
in the last game he had 4 points and played 34 minutes. Like that's inexcusable. You can't go out there in an elimination game and play like that. I also thought just in game 5 and alone, I didn't see any sense of urgency from the Mavericks, especially in the first half. They just looked like
that was when it was over.
No. Yeah, but
first
I mean,
half.
they were still right in it. But Luka just didn't. He only had like 8 points or something.
Yeah,
like
when
that.
I saw the first half and Boston started going off, I was like,
no,
because Boston started going off at the end of kind of like the end of the beginning of the second quarter. End of the first, going into the second, I was like, oh, and then they kept building on it, and then Pritchard hit the half court. I was like, it's over.
Yeah, but they were right there. They had cut the lead down, and then they were right there. I mean, Luka just didn't.
Yeah, it looked like the momentum. It looked like they came out flat.
He looked uninspired, and then I'm like, yo, this is an elimination game. You have to come out. Even
Boston
if you
look hungry.
Your shots, I'm like, yo, you got to shoot like 30 shots. Even
Crazy.
if you go 10 for 30.
Crazy.
At least you went out swinging. In the first half, he just wasn't assertive enough.
No.
Second half, he did, but I mean, at that point in time, it was garbage time.
If you would think that Boston was playing like their backs are against the wall the way they came out versus the Mavericks, that's crazy. that you know what I'm saying? Boston came out with a sense of urgency. It is what it is. It is what it is. Mo, name 2 things the Mavericks can do to be better next year. I guess win it. Oh, Mo, you muted. Yeah. I guess win it, right? Or at least get back to the finals.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I think better offense. I think they got to get out of that vanilla offense. And then also, I think getting better bench play, especially on the perimeter. Like, if you pretty much look at it, they got nobody off the bench that really was a consistent type of person. They weren't playing Tim Hardaway Jr. And then when they were, he was on and off. And I think you gotta have that one bench guy that can give you something. You know what I'm saying? And I think we really didn't get nothing from their bench outside of Gafford or Lively, depending on who they started. But then they weren't giving them the ball enough. Like the vanilla offense, they wasn't really finding ways to give them the ball down low or finding ways to get them the ball. So I just think better offensive rhythm overall, and I think their bench getting better bench scoring will prove them, will help them get back. But I think
Yeah.
as a roster, especially if they improve, I think as a roster right now, we gotta say you got two closers, two of the best closers right now in the game. So we look at their roster right now. Can we really say too many teams in the West that have better, rosters from top to bottom?
I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. The West is loaded. Like I think Dallas probably should add somebody to more spacing, so then
Yeah,
not relying more on the corner threes and the alley oops.
right.
You
Somebody get
know,
their own, another person get their own bucket.
yeah, more switching, a little bit more complex offense, and I think Luca needs to. And I know he was in the best shape he was this year, but he needs to be in a Luca needs to be in better shape. This is on him. It happens to every champion. You don't play good in the finals, you bounce back. You know what I'm saying? So this is, and listen, Shaq got swept in the finals. He came back. You know what I'm saying? LeBron didn't look good in his first two finals. Came back. Like, we gotta see. You know what I'm saying? So, Craig, what are two things the Mavericks can do to improve next season? I guess not improve, but at least make it back to the finals or go deep. You know, um, like Western Conference Finals or something.
I
Be
think
relevant.
it starts with Luka. Number one, he's the face of the team. He's the
Yep.
one of the best players in the NBA. He's really great offensively. One of the best offensive talents, I guess, in the history of the game, possibly.
Yeah, I mean he's
If he
vicious.
keeps it, if
Yeah.
he keeps it going, if he keeps it being consistent, and he's only like 24, 25, so he's got a lot of time left. But
Yes.
he's a great offensive player. He can do a lot offensively, but his defense is lacking. He showed some flashes, like I said earlier. He showed flashes against Minnesota, some flashes against Oklahoma City, but he's not consistent on defense, and he's a liability on the court because I mean you could just attack Luka and get away with it because he's just not going to put up a fight on defense. So that's what
Yeah.
Boston. That's what kind of what Boston did, especially if you get them in a pick and roll and they switch. You're screwed. I mean, there's nothing he can do. So he needs to get in the better shape in the offseason. I don't know if Kyrie Irving might be the only person or one of them. Maybe Dirk can come to him as well, since he's a champion, and just be like, yo, you're the face of the team. You need to get in better shape. I think he'll listen to Dirk. I think he'll listen to Kyrie. Even though Kyrie struggled in this finals, he has the championship already, and he called him his brother or something like that to that effect against when he was in the Minnesota series, I think. So I think he looks up to Kyrie. It's just, and Kyrie's been a great
He's been
player.
good.
I guess like a great teammate for the last couple of years. So I think it starts with Luka. And number two, I think they need another. They needed somebody on the perimeter that can shoot consistent.
Yep.
threes.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying, obviously not saying these guys in general, but a JJ Redick or a Kyle Korver or
somebody stretch it. Somebody stretch it. Yeah.
somebody that can shoot a three consistently.
Yep.
And they don't have that outside of just Luka. And when he's off, or Kyrie, like he was off in this series too. Like who's the next guy that can shoot to the three, or just get a bucket on
Trade
their own?
those shot. Yeah, bucket on their own.
They
Yeah.
need to find somebody like that. Their front court, they can play defense. They can switch people out and stuff like that. But their backcourt, even Kyrie, their backcourt is just not a great defensive unit. So they got some issues they need to figure out. But Luka's got to be the focal point, and he's got to want to be in better shape and be better on defense.
All right, Craig, I'm gonna start with you. Where does this Boston team rank all time? And because that's what everybody's been talking about. And do you think they have a chance to become a dynasty?
I mean, where they rank all time, they're not anywhere in my top. They're not. I guess if I were to say a top tier, it would be like the 87 Celtics were really great. The Bulls, 96 Bulls, even the 91 Bulls, or not, maybe 93 Bulls.
Yeah, they wouldn't be in my top 10 of teams.
The Warriors, when they had Kevin Durant, those teams, the 2001 Lakers.
Yep.
I just don't see this team there. Maybe it has a lot to do with the competition they played and some of the key players getting hurt on the other teams. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. The stats are the stats. I think they have like the most. They have the most 50 point, 40 point, 30 point, 20 point wins of anybody in NBA history this season. Yep. Something like that. Stuff like that. Okay, cool. I get it. And they were really great against the Western Conference. I think like 27-8 or 28-7 during the regular season.
Yeah.
But the eye test, they just doesn't pass the eye test for me. Like I know it's all hypotheticals and everything like that, but you put this team up against the 87 Celtics. I don't think they're beating them. Like the Bulls, the Warriors, all these teams, the 2012 Heat. I don't see it. So
yeah, I get that.
I guess if I had to put them in a tier, if there were certain tiers, I'd probably have to go through every team, or at least a lot of teams that I remember from like the last 30, 40 years. Maybe they go in the second tier, possibly.
Maybe.
Their defense was really good. It's just they just weren't. I mean, at least their star players in the finals, they just weren't really Tatum.
Chris Bouchard compared them to the 04 Pistons.
Maybe. I mean, possibly. I thought that Pistons team was really great on defense. Offense wasn't. Their offense was okay. Their offense was really good. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I was like, dang. And then I forget they went back to the finals, but they lost against the Spurs.
This team is just.
So I could see Boston going back to the finals and losing to like Denver or Dallas or
I just don't see like a all-time talent, like an all-time team. I just don't see it with this team. I think they could go back to back at least. Depends on what happens in free agency and obviously how everything shakes out with some of these other teams that, like Milwaukee, for example, that need to get more familiar with each other in terms of the coach and the players on the floor. The 76ers, if Embiid can stay healthy, that could be a challenge for them. The Knicks, if they get everybody healthy, whatever happens with Paul George, I think they can at least go back to back. Now, Dynasty might be pushing it. I think they have to go. To me, I think they have to win at least 3 and 4.
3, yep.
Maybe 3 in a row would definitely do it. But I think 3 out of 4, even though they went to the finals in 2022, they didn't win it. But I think.
Would you say 3 out of 5?
I could do 3 out of 5.
Okay.
3 out of 5 would be good too. They do 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
But so I think if they do go 3 out of 5, though, I would like to see a back to back.
Yeah,
I don't want to see a win-loss. I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
so
back to back. Got it.
Yeah,
at least one back to back in there. I got it.
Well, yeah, they would have. Yeah. So I think they can do it. They have enough talent, and
they bringing everybody back.
I was about to say, yeah, they bringing everybody back. The coaches, well, he coaches the team well. So
I think they're signing what's his name? Derek White to an extension. So they're gonna offer Jason Tatum the extension, which I think is 5 years, $319, and then they're gonna offer Derek White an extension as well. I just read that today. So they're keeping everybody together, and I know Porzingis is at least signed 1 more year.
They both deserve it. I know.
Lakers might lose JJ Redick to the Pistons. Good luck with that.
I don't think JJ take that job, but never mind. That's it.
If I'm JJ, I'll take that job. Well, I would.
Not how they do their coaches. Not how they do.
The Lakers don't do their coaches that good either.
Yeah, but that's a totally different thing. I just think if you gonna leave the booth, make it worth it. My thing is to go to that roster and you're a first year head coach coaching. I mean, the only thing we've seen.
Detroit is no pressure. It's no pressure with Detroit.
Yeah,
no pressure, dog.
It's a young team, and I think him.
Yeah,
I can see it. I mean, a young team that don't know no better, and you got first year head coach. I mean, I I can see it.
He'll be there. He'll be there probably 5-6 years probably.
I mean,
Well, how long you think they would give him?
I don't know because Detroit. I mean, I gotta see. The dude got new GM, new management. So I mean, I would see it now. Thinking about it, I can see that man. You know, he got a young roster. You know, it's a young roster. You know, a lot of dudes on that roster have been drafted within the last 2-3 years. They got a top 5 pick this year. But if he's gonna take that job, he needs to take it now because draft next Wednesday.
Well, I mean, they had coaches stay there for a decent amount of years in Detroit.
Their last couple coaches been 2-3 years.
No. Dwayne Casey was there for 5 years.
Before I'm about to say they be keeping coaches for a second.
Stan Van Gundy was there for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they be keeping.
Monty Williams was there last year. He got there last year. He got overpaid. Well, I ain't gonna say he got overpaid because of what his job.
He got paid a lot. He got paid a lot.
He got paid a decent amount, and he didn't turn the team around. His expectations were way too high for his.
I mean, let's see it because I mean, like
I think they hired JJ. He gonna be there for like 4 or 5 years.
And then you look at it, it's like it's the East, and now with the playing now, you just gotta get in the top 10 and let the chips fall where it may after that. So
he can still have his podcast with LeBron.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him.
It's no tension. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I could see. Yeah, that would be weird if he was a head coach of the Lakers. But if he said, that's weird. Have a podcast with LeBron and he head coach. That's weird.
Head coach, and then people want to ask a question. You can't shy away from it because then y'all right next to each other. That wouldn't be smart at all.
It wouldn't be smart to keep it. I think if he gets a job,
he'll probably get rid of it. No. I'm not saying keep it, but Craig, it doesn't look. It looks different if he gets the Pistons job. You see what I'm saying? Like it looks.
Yeah, but with the schedule, I wouldn't keep it regardless because now you're a head coach your first time.
No, not the podcast. Just hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
If he quits the podcast and gets the Piston job, it looks better than if he quits the podcast and get the Lakers job. Because people on the Lakers gonna be like, "Damn, you had LeBron on the podcast. Now you're a head coach." It's gonna be weird in the locker room.
You're gonna say that regardless.
It's gonna be weird in the locker room, though. It's gonna be real weird. It's gonna be real weird.
Like months ago, or like a month ago. People were talking about that a month ago.
Yeah, but if he takes a Piston job, it's gonna it'll be better for him, and it'll be better for everybody.
It's better for him in general because it's a young team. He doesn't have to worry about
no pressure.
Now you talk about getting like 2 years. That's what they've been doing in LA. Been giving like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he gonna have 2 years in LA. He got 2 years.
Especially if LeBron is only there for a
2 years. LeBron gonna sign a 2-year joint. He gonna be.
He needs to go to a young team where they're trying to rebuild or something like that. Especially in their first time. I don't think he wants to go to. The Lakers would be a better job, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to go there. If I'm him.
Anyway, enough about Lakers and JJ Redick. They snuck into this podcast as the Lakers always do. Not always, but anyway. All right. Jason Tatum, Finals MVP. What does this impact his legacy? Well, I'm sorry. Wait. Jalen Brown wins Finals MVP. Did he deserve it? What are your thoughts on it?
I kind of think they gave it as overall consistency. I think the one thing the argument is Jason Tatum had more. He had more. I think more rebounds, more assists. I think he had more everything, but I know he definitely had more rebounds and more assists. But I just think Jalen Brown, just the terror he went on through the whole playoffs, I think they looked at it more his whole playoffs than just the finals run, I think. When you look, I think kind of judge this off his whole body of work because if you just go off the finals run, I think Tatum should have got it. You know, definitely how he came strong with that 12, I think it was game 2. He had 12 assists. And then, you know, just the way, because at the end of the day, we see a lot of stars. If they're shooting not going, they're not getting there. They're not helping their team in other ways. Tatum, the one thing I would give Tatum credit is he knew his shooting wasn't going, but he was helping the team in other ways. He'll rebound. He'll go out there with like we was talking about when they're doing the 5 out. He's checking big men. You know what I'm saying? He going out there taking on them early fouls to, you know, against the big men, and he's doing everything you asked him to do. So I just think, you know, he definitely showed winning ways in other ways other than just the scoring. But I won't take it away from Brown. Brown has made a Brown made a credible playoff run. I think we haven't seen too many players. If we think about it, I mean, other than Iguodala, how many players have we seen win a Finals MVP who weren't named to the All NBA team? I think outside of Iguodala, I'm trying to think the last one who won Final MVP. It wasn't named any of the All NBA teams.
Cedric Maxwell.
It's rare though. I'm thinking the last 10 years, maybe 10, 15 years, everybody who's been a Finals MVP was on at least one of those All NBA teams. You know what I'm saying? Outside of Iguodala, the year he won it. So I'm just thinking it just, incredible feat. He came out on a mission. He really was, he really had that chip on his shoulder, not being named. And I think he deserved it. I don't think it hurts Tatum's legacy not winning. At the end of the day, you were champ. At the end of the day, I know some people say, well, you gotta have Finals MVPs, you gotta have this, but we gotta look at this though. There's people getting in the Hall of Fame now that ain't even got a ring. So if we really want to judge him on that, at the end of the day, he's a champion. We seen numerous people just get voted in. Vince Carter just got in, no ring, no Finals MVP, no NBA MVP, and he's got it. So we're seeing players get in that don't have that Finals MVP or even a regular season MVP. So at the end of the day, I don't think this hurts his legacy. I think your mic's wrong.
Yeah, Craig, what do you think about Jalen Brown winning the Finals MVP? Do you think he deserved it? I'm hearing some people wanted Tatum.
Of course, they want Tatum. Tatum's the best player on the team. I think. I just think Jalen Brown was more consistent throughout the whole series. So I'm not mad at Jalen Brown for getting the Finals award. I think he deserved it. I think he played better than Tatum in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's why he got the Larry Bird Trophy. I think he played better than Tatum in this series. Brown was also playing some of the defenders on defense. I think if Tatum had a better start in games 1 and 2 in terms of his points, I think he probably would have got it. He just didn't. He only had he had under 20 points in both of those games, so that doesn't help. But I don't think it should matter. I mean, it's going to matter because people are going to still talk about it, and they're going to compare him to this player and that player. But I mean, I look and see what Steph did in his first finals, where he didn't get the Finals MVP. People were talking about, well, he didn't get Finals MVP, so blah blah blah, and they just tried to discredit what he did and discredit him being a champion for the most part. So I think people are going to still have scrutiny about Jason Tatum because he's the Finals MVP. He hasn't won a regular season MVP. He didn't win the Larry Bird MVP. So people are going to definitely have something to say about it. But what you play for the most part is to be a champion, and he's the best player on the team. He helped lead the team, co-lead the team, and I mean that should all really kind of put everything to rest. But we all know it's not. So if he goes out and he wins the Finals MVP next year, people are still going to have something to say. So I mean, at the end of the day, you just want to win a championship, and that's pretty much what he did. So I'm not mad at him. I'm glad Jalen Brown won it. I think he deserved it, like I said. So it is what it is, man. I think just this is going to happen next season. I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both of you. I think I understand why people want it for Tatum, but I don't, because Tatum's final stats, what he plays in the finals and how he plays in the finals is horrible. We haven't at this point. So I mean, Jason Tatum is young and he still has a chance to, outgrow that as an NBA player. But I would have to give it to Jalen Brown. I think he deserved it. I think he was playing well, and I think that he was playing with the chip on his shoulder, not getting third All NBA, and he said it. He was like, okay. And he didn't play good in the last NBA Finals. So, shout out to him, man. And it's just awesome to see the way they plays, and he deserved it. Flat it down. And he made one of the clutchest shots to kind of finish the series. to be honest with you. Game 3, he had that turnaround, and he just showed up in big spots. He had that dunk. So I think Jalen Brown is worth it. I think, man, I love it. This is a good time for the Boston Celtics, man. It's a good time. Craig, Jason Tatum, he is now an NBA champion. Nobody can take that away from him. He said it. What they gonna say now? It's a famous line.
Oh my God.
Not a famous line, but people say they win champions. And it's right for them to say it. They won at the highest level. But Craig, how do you think does this impact his legacy if he if you think he's gonna have one? I mean, like do you think he's gonna how do you think this impacts it?
Him winning the championship is definitely good for his legacy. I just think that people were. I mean, he's only 25. He's about to be 26, so he still had a lot more time. Like he's done something a lot of people have never done before. Even people who have been in the league for X amount of years or whatever. Like he's done it early in his career, and he's been to the finals twice. So a lot of people don't even get experience the finals once. Like most said, Vince Carter played 20 plus years in the league, didn't get to the finals one time.
Yep.
So
it's hard. It's hard.
He's been there. He's been there. He's had an opportunity to win before. So like I don't know. I think his legacy, to me, if I were like a voter or whatever it is, or a person in the media, I would say his legacy's fine. Like his legacy's good. Like there's nothing really negative to say about it other than the fact that he doesn't have like an MVP or something. Everything else, he's been on all NBA first team. He's a great defender. Like he didn't play well in the finals offensively in terms of scoring or in terms of shooting, but everything else he did phenomenal. Like he just did really well. Which a lot of people obviously they look at offensive numbers a lot. So and that usually goes to somebody who's really dominant in terms of scoring or something like that. And that's normally the MVP or somebody who's up for MVP consideration, but there's other things that goes along with that as well. So I think Tatum is fine. He's only 25, 26. He has at least 10 more years left if he stays healthy. Probably a little bit longer than that. And I think he's going to have more opportunities to win another championship or to win championships in general. I think he's only going to get better. If the team stays like it is, like they're supposed to be next year, they have an opportunity to go back to back. I think the team is in good shape. They're in good spirits. Everything's fine for them right now. So I don't know what I can understand why people have some things negative to say about Tatum, but I mean, like he's going to be going down as one of the all-time greatest Celtic players in history. So
yeah.
And Jalen Brown's right there with him. So I think he's definitely one of the most underrated players in the NBA. So you got two really good players, young players, playing together on the same team. I don't know, man. The league could be in trouble for a while.
Yeah, I like that. I think that it's a championship does nothing to boost your legacy, and I think because Tatum is so young, like he is 26, and you played off his playoff resume. Him and Jalen Brown playoff resume are legit. Like they've been to a lot of conference finals. Not only have they been in a lot of conference finals, they just was at an NBA final in 2022. They won the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And now they won the finals this year. Like, I think this is great for his legacy. And I think you're right. I think that, and I told y'all this last time, y'all didn't agree with me, but I think we were all in agreement. But like, even if they didn't win a championship, I'm still signing both of those because to have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown as your cornerstone two NBA players, where they're homegrown superstars, you got to rock with them, and I think they're Boston's going to be good for a long time because you can put a lot of players because those two are so versatile. You can put Jason Tatum at the 4 and Jalen Brown at the 3, or Jason Tatum could be at the 3 and Jalen Brown at the 2. Like those are two, I think, cornerstone NBA players, and it took 11 years to build, and they look like they might go on a 10-year run maybe. For real, they're gonna be good for a minute. So we gotta get used to it. We gotta get used to seeing Boston deep like this. Um, Mo, what do you think this does for Jason Tatum's legacy, man?
He can walk around. He can say he's a champ. I don't think it starts to put him in all-time status or nothing like that. But he can walk. He can say
he got a long way to go.
Yeah. He got a long way to go for that. If you want to, if you want to try to compare him, if you want to try to compare him to current people, cool. If you want to do that, if you want to try to put him there, if we're talking about winning. If you want to try to put him there, but then he don't have no regular season MVP, so it's like even if you try to put him there with a Giannis or something like that, or even a Kawhi, or even a Steph, I don't think you can do that right now. I think that's disrespectful. He only got one ring. You know what I'm saying? I think the best bet for everybody is just to say he's a champ. I think if we start comparing them, then we get into who you really gonna compare him to of this generation right now. You know what I'm saying? Who do you compare him to? Now I will say, for the fact of since he's been drafted, if you compare it to who was drafted with him, you know what I'm saying, if his class or something like that, then we can have that discussion. But if you're talking about overall,
I think him and Jalen might be the best of their class, bro.
Yeah, they've been the most productive out of their class. They definitely been, both of them been the most productive out of their class. And this is just crazy to see how they were drafted back to back like that. Like to get them back to back years and them to stay together now and be productive like this. I think it just. I'm trying to think when the last time we've seen this out of a group that's the production they've done from two people who were drafted by the team. I think we haven't seen this since Stephen Clay. As far as two people that got drafted by that team and have both been this productive and one on this level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know we've seen people who, one of them got drafted and the other dude got, traded for or whatever, and then they make a duo. But since Stephen Clay, have we seen two dudes play this well that got drafted by that organization? So I think his legacy in play, but I would just keep it at he's a champion. I wouldn't start saying, his legacy as far as overall, even I wouldn't even really speak to his place as far as, some of the big players now. Do we really put him up there with a Clay or Steph or LeBron or Kawhi right now off one ship? You know what I'm saying? So, and then even the Giannis conversation, but Giannis has MVPs. Giannis has a Finals MVP. So I think even that comparison is kind of, be tough to do. So I just think as long as we keep him as a champ, but I know because he's a champ, because of the commercials and everything else, we as the media, they're going to start to kind of expand his, legacy farther than what it really should be right now. And I think that's a tough thing to
do. Okay. That's real. I get it. Man, I understand it. But on another note, we got Craig's top 5. What's up, man? What you bringing at us this week, Craig? What's good?
So, damn. So this week I'm doing. Last week I did my top 5 NBA team failures. This week I'm just doing the opposite. Top 5 team successes. Now I know there's only one team that is really the success story. That's Boston, because they won the championship and all the other teams didn't. But I think there's like a silver lining for some of these other teams that you can look at as well. So I want to exclude Boston because they're obviously my number one. So because they won the championship. So excluding Boston, top 5 teams that have had the most success for me. Number 5, I'm starting with the Knicks. I think the Knicks making it to the second round, and they could have made it past the second round had they not had all those injuries. They had the second best record in the East, 50 wins. Only 2 teams in the East had 50 or more wins, so them and Boston. They ended up losing in the 7-game series, going to 7 games, losing Game 7 at home to the Pacers. But they had so many injuries, including Jalen Brunson, who got hurt in that game. I give them a pass because I think if they were fully healthy I would love to have seen them fully healthy and probably challenge Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals this past season. It could have been a different whole scenario or a different whole situation if they were healthy. Number 4, I got Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City came out of nowhere, ended up with the best record in the West, which is tough to do because it's the West. Youngest team ever to have the number 1 seed. Ended up losing in the second round to Dallas, which, I mean, looking back on it, at the time, I was like, damn, I thought they were going to win. But, I mean, actually, no, I take that back. I had whoever won that Clippers-Dallas series. But I thought they could have won that series. And they definitely could have. They lost in 6 games. Dallas just had a little bit more consistency. And the team just played well. Plus, Oklahoma City's young. It's the first time really being there. Maybe the lights a little bit too bright. But I think they overachieved for what happened or for coming into this season. Because I like I said, I didn't have them nowhere near my top 2 or top 3 teams in the West. Number 3, I got
I understand that.
Pacers over. I mean, I think they really overachieved. I didn't have them going to the Eastern Conference Finals at all. I did have them beating Milwaukee, but I thought they would lose to whoever they would have played in the second round, whether that would have been New York or Philly. But I mean, to make it to the conference final for the first time since 2007, they ended up losing in a sweep, but they could have been up 3-1 in that series. I mean, they had opportunities to win game 1, and they just blew it at the end. They had opportunities to win game 3. Hilleberton got hurt, which, that was unfortunate. But, I mean, they had so many chances that they should have been up in that series, and they just blew it. I think they can learn and grow from this for coming up the next season, but they got some they probably going to sign Siakam, so that's a big step for them. But man, they had some opportunities there, and they let them go to waste. But overall, I think they had a really good season. Minnesota's my number 2, making it to the conference finals, just like Indiana for the first time since 2007. A young team who ended up beating the defending champs in Dallas. Beat them in their home stadium.
Wow, that was Indiana's first time since 2007, as well as Minnesota.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting stat. I didn't know that.
I got to double check it, but I think so.
That's crazy. I think so. I think you're around that. No, I think you're right.
But
I think that was KG. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think Minnesota they definitely played well. They had opportunities in that series against Dallas, but Dallas was just a little too much for them, especially on defense. They were more consistent in that series on defense. Anthony Edwards and Rudy and Karl Anthony Towns, they just weren't consistent enough on offense. Like maybe the lights got a little too bright for them first time being there, but it was a great season for them. Ended up beating Kevin Durant and the Suns, who a lot of people had in the finals, or a lot of people had going farther than the first round, and they ended up sweeping that team, and then they beat the defending champs. So hats off to them. And my number 1 team is Dallas, making the finals for the first time since 2011. Had a couple opportunities in this series, but Boston were just too much for that team. Luka just looked. I mean, I know he was hurt, he was dealing with injuries and things like that, but he was just a liability on defense. He didn't look comfortable on defense. Kyrie didn't look comfortable in Boston. They need somebody else. They need some more help. But I think the team that they put out there this year and what they did, winning against the Clippers on the road, or being the underdog, Oklahoma City being the underdog in terms of not having home court. Same thing with Minnesota. Making it to the finals, I think they have something that they can grow on and build on for next season.
Yeah. Wow. Damn, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
There's some stuff going on out there. Let me double check this case.
Hold on, you were talking about. I was looking for the Pacers and for the conference championship, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 2000 and I think it was.
Oh no, I take that back. I take that back. It was 2014. My bad. Why did I get to that? I must just copy and paste it. It was 2014. My bad. 2014.
2014 for
They lost to the Heat.
Paul George. They lost to the Heat. That was
Back to back
Paul
years.
George era. Yep. Yep. That was Paul
2000. I
George.
must have just copied and pasted
Man.
it and didn't even. Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
copy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
paste.
Oh, it's all good. I was
Yeah,
like, dang, I was like, that's an amazing stat. I was like, man,
nah, I
that's
think.
just cool. That's cool, man.
But I do
Um,
believe that Minnesota is. I mean, I think they're correct. 2007. No,
yes.
no,
I think they're 2004.
2004. Damn, man,
Yeah.
I'm all out. Okay, you know what? I gotta do a better
Yeah.
job next time. This is
He be alright. Yeah, it
music
happens,
was
man.
stuck in
Trust me. I be
2004.
listening. I be listen. I listen back to my stuff and be like, "Yo, hold on, hold
That's
on,
even
James."
that's even better. I mean, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's
You
20.
know what?
That's
You
that's
know what's
good. That's a good
crazy?
amount of time.
I didn't realize
But
until earlier today. I think I seen it on Instagram or something. The Celtics won in 2008 and 2024, which is Kobe's numbers, and he played on the Lakers. So
oh snap, that's crazy. I just realized that. Yeah, 2008 and then 2024. Wow,
08 and 24, man, that's crazy.
wow. Hey, you know him and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, that's like his idol.
Yeah,
So I know he probably is. I know he's like, yo, I won a championship. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Mo, let's get to the WNBA. You know, let me ask you this, and I listen. This is a real thing. It is real, guys, and we all know what the media is doing. We know what it is, but it is both players know what it is. But there is a legitimate Angel Reese and Clayton Clark rivalry. There is, unfortunately. I think they're just two great basketball players playing great basketball as rookies. They're playing phenomenal, but I think they're competitors. But Mo, what you think about the flagrant foul? What do you think about the rivalry?
I mean, I think sometimes because of the fact that they played against each other in the college, and then this draft and everything going on, then everything going on, I think we're building it up more than it is right now. I mean, it can be a rivalry, but I think one thing we're looking at right now is both teams. From my look at, both teams are not doing too well in the standings. Um, you know what I'm saying? So I
No,
think that kind of brings it down a little bit more. I think if I want a mistake, I think the Fever are like 5 and something.
but they might
But
make the playoffs. The
yeah, I think
Fever
they're in
might
eighth
make the
spot. I think
playoffs.
they're in the eighth spot right now. But I mean, it could be a bigger, it could be a bigger thing now. I mean, of course, it's a rivalry, two competitors, two people who were at the top of the college game as far as bringing in fans and their play on the court. So it comes off like that. But I think sometimes we're building this up more than it should be right now because we want that, because it's just who the media is. But I don't see it as a huge deal. I think it's competitors being competitors, but I think everything they do right now because of WNBA is getting more fanfare as it has ever. I think now a lot of things are getting blown out of proportion.
Mm, yeah. Craig, what are your thoughts on the the flagrant foul?
I don't think it was a flag. I mean, I guess it was a flag route. I don't think it was a dirty play. I think it was a basketball play. I think she was going for the ball. It just so happens that she just hit her in the head. She probably could have just pulled up and just not done anything because she had help, and the help did block her shot. Did block Clark's shot. So she had help. She didn't really need to do all that. But I just think a lot of this stuff just gets over. I guess I don't know what oversaturated, or it gets more attention than it needs to because it is Caitlin Clark. So if this was Diane Jones, it wouldn't have it wouldn't even be that serious. But because it's Caitlin Clark, all eyes on her. She's the next big thing, or whatever. So it just gets magnified times 10, and then it gets magnified even more when it's Angel Reese involved with Caitlin Clark because they had, like most said,
Yeah.
they had going back and forth in college. and they had she did the John Cena tour and stuff like that, and they won the championship last year, and then this year they played each other again, and then Caitlin Clark and Iowa they ended up getting the best of LSU. So
Yeah.
and then obviously the first time that they played each other, they had that whole uh, Kennedy Clark, I think is her name, or Kennedy some I can't remember her
Yeah.
last name. She body checked her or whatever it is. So it's always going to be something. Like
Yeah.
I think it's good for the sport. I think having a rivalry, especially something you can constantly keep talking. They're going to talk about Caitlin Clark all the time anyway, but having somebody else that you can go along with, kind of like Bird and Magic or something like that, what they did for the sport, even though they weren't playing like the same position, they didn't really guard each other like that. Like this duo, they don't guard each other like that. They play two different positions. So, but just having that animosity, well, I don't even know if it's animosity. They might even just like each other. Just on the court, they just go at
Yeah.
it when need be. But
Yeah.
the media is going to hype it up regardless. So it is
Yep.
what it is. Like I'm cool with the rivalry, I guess, if there is one. I just think it's good for the sport. It's good to talk about something different.
Yeah. Listen. Angel Reese is going for the ball. We know what it is, guys. Listen. We are part of it. We gotta talk with what's going on, but we don't have to talk about it. But we know why Clayton Clark is, getting more attention. Like, listen, it's what it is. Andrew Reese gets fouled hard and slammed about by Alyssa Thompson. Nobody talks about it, but I think Mo talked about it. That's how this show is. We're not just gonna pander to not what all the media says. I think we just talk about what we want to talk about. But I think that this is great for the WNBA, yo. I think this is something that could blow up their sport. Because Angel Reese, man, listen, man, I've been rocking with Angel Reese since she in LSU, and then I found out she's from Baltimore, Maryland. You know, I know some people that know her. I don't know. I don't claim to know her. I just know she's from Baltimore. She's local. Her cousin that played on UConn that I believe is in the league. He's from PG County. I think she's from Baltimore. So just shout out to Angel Reese, and then you got Clayton Clark, who's just a phenomenal player. So I mean, they're gonna do great for the WNBA. This is awesome. And look, we're talking about them now. We're probably gonna talk about them a little bit more regularly next season. And it is what it is. It's love, man. Like I love sports so much. I hope the WNBA blossoms into a great sport, and they got their own chartered planes. Like this is awesome. We're witnessing the growth of a sport. So I hope they like all eyes on them because that's what it takes. That's what it is, man. Like when you're a superstar in a major sport in the market, all eyes on you. So I love it. I can't wait for it. I'm loving how it's growing the sport. Oh, I before we get to the NFL, we do have some sad news, man. Willie Mays passed away today. Crazy for the sports world because like Jerry West, Willie Mays, and Bill Walton is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
Legends,
that's
legends.
pretty. Those are legends, man. He was 93 years old. He passed away yesterday. So just shout out to Willie Mays, man. He was a legend in baseball. Craig, I know you keep up with baseball a little bit more than me. What are your thoughts on Willie Mays? Any words of reflection?
I mean, I don't really know too much because I mean he's before my time, but I just know that he was a phenomenal baseball player. He's arguably one of the greatest, top two most people's rankings in terms of baseball.
Yep.
Between him and Babe
Yep.
Ruth, so he's
Some
definitely
people
a
got him number one.
phenomenal.
Some people
Yeah,
got him number
he's a
one. Yeah.
phenomenal, or he was a phenomenal baseball player. Um,
hmm
One of the first. He played in the Negro leagues back in the day, and then he came to the major leagues. But his numbers speak for themselves. I think a lot of people saying if he had played in a different ballpark, versus playing in San Francisco, he would have had a lot more home runs, like at least 100 more home runs
Yep.
possibly, or something like that. So,
That's
like
crazy.
he
He
was
had
a
660.
phenomenal
That's
baseball
crazy.
player. He was a phenomenal baseball player. He's going to be missed in the sports world, and I mean, that's 3 weeks in a row where we lost a legend. Two in
Crazy.
basketball, two in baseball. So, man, this has been a tough year so far, especially the last couple of weeks in terms of sports. But yeah, man, he was just a great player. I wish I got a chance to meet him, but um, he's gonna be missed.
Yeah, Mo. Willie
Definitely,
Mays, man.
definitely shout out to him. Definitely affected the game in a major way with his play. I know he still was doing contributions after he retired. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say Barry Bonds was related to him. I know Barry Bonds was one of
This is
the
Godfather.
yeah, his godfather. Yeah, I know
That's the Godfather.
Netflix titles. Yeah, and I think you know, it was real emotional for him when he broke Willie Mays that home run record, got above Willie Mays. So you know, so definitely shout out to Willie Mays on a great career, the impact he had on baseball. And like Chris, it's been a rough 3 weeks, losing a lot of legends of just sports in general, not just their particular sports, but just the sports world in general. You know, we've been losing a lot of legends. So
All right, man. Shout out to Willie Mays, man. Shout out. All right, now NFL news. Trevor Lawrence signed 5-year, $275 million extension with the Jaguars. $200 million in guaranteed money. $142 million fully guaranteed at signing. So I ask you, Craig, what are your thoughts on the Trevor Lawrence contract? Did he deserve it? Do you agree with the extension?
I mean, in terms of his play on the field, I would say no, he doesn't deserve it. But I mean, you got a franchise quarterback there that you drafted #1 overall a few years ago. You have to sign him at this point. I mean, at least he got you one playoff win, a comeback playoff win. Um, the market is what the market is at this point. Quarterbacks are going to get paid regardless. I mean, it's just the way the market is right now. So guys like Tua is going to get paid, and who's next after Tua or around that time with Tua? Brock Purdy is another guy's going to get paid. So these guys, I mean, as long as you're somewhat producing on the field, like we saw Justin Herbert, he hasn't done anything, but I mean, he got paid. So as long as you're going out there and you're competent at playing quarterback, you're still relatively young and still can go out there and do some things on the field, you're probably gonna get paid a decent amount of money. So I mean, I like to see more from him in terms of him taking the team further into the playoffs or a little bit deeper into the playoffs or having more success. Because after what happened last year, the collapse that they had in I guess the second easiest division in football, it's just unacceptable. Especially after what happened the year before, where you had success a little bit, you won a playoff game, you came back, you won a division, won a playoff game, and then people were expecting big things from this team coming in the last season, and they ended up just throwing up on themselves towards the end. So, I guess I'm saying he deserves to get paid just because of the talent factor. Who else are you going to go out there and find? Are you going to just start over and just do it again with the draft? I don't know too many free agents out there that you could pick up that are decent, that are better than Trevor Lawrence, at least talent-wise. But he's got to play a lot better.
Man, a lot better. I agree. Mo, what are your
I mean, in terms
thoughts
of him, what he did last year.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
It's the market. It's truly we talk about it all the time. It's the market. It kind of doesn't. It matters, but it kind of almost doesn't matter what the win-loss record is anymore. And so now when you look at this, though, when you look at what Lawrence just got, if your agents and you're talking to your clients, these players, if you're Love or if you're Love, and think about this right quick, Brock Purdy, even Love, even Tua. If you really look at it, Tua hasn't won a playoff game yet, but if you're Love or if you're Brock Purdy, you've done more, you've been more productive and have won more than Lawrence. And I know some people out there and say, well, they have more talent. Nah. I'm like, that's not their fault. They came in the league, especially if you were a Purdy. He was a 7th-round draft pick. When nobody really expect nothing to him. You know, even if you're Love came to a situation behind Rodgers and they made him and they told him, you know, hey, you got to bank on yourself. We're gonna give you this 1-year deal, 1-year extension. You know, bank on yourself, and look what he did. You know what I'm saying? And really, he ain't got no. I think he has receivers who could become Pro Bowl type of receivers, but right now he ain't got no Pro Bowl receiver. You know, it's kind of receiver by committee. It's production by committee type of receiving corps. So I just think, man, I shout out to Lawrence. I always want to see these players get the bag, but I think it does set a market now for Tua and for Love and for Purdy to get their money.
Okay, I'm good. Great that you talked about that. I do think that I agree with Craig. This is the thing. Like, if you're Jacksonville and you probably know that you're going to have to pay him, just do it now. Because this is what we know about the NFL and the quarterback position. Either you're going to pay now or pay later. That's just it. There's no way around it. You got Justin Herbert getting 52, Trevor Lawrence getting 55. And you got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. They starting to slide down this list, man. And those are the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Right? Patrick Mahomes is nobody in his lane. And then you got Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, or Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Whichever way you want to go. They're not getting paid as much as this guy, but unfortunately, in 2 years to 3 years, this is not going to be nothing. Because Dak's going to get more than this. Purdy's going to get more than this. Love is like, hey, hold on. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to, that's a nice segue, Mo. And I'm gonna ask you this. Let's play a game. Right? Because Trevor Lawrence is at $55 million. Let's throw some numbers out there and see if we can sign these guys and what we think is appropriate for them. Right now, what do you think Tua's gonna get? Because let me tell you something what I heard before Tua. I heard he's around the talks are going good. Tom Pelissero said earlier he's around the Kyler Murray range. That's what Tua's around. That's what I.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what I heard.
I can see that. I can see that because if you kind of average it out, I mean, yeah, the stats have been better. You know what? They just won. You know, they've been winning. They've been going to the playoffs, but no playoff win yet. You know, and no division title yet. So I definitely want to see. You know, but I think
Kyler Murray is at. My bad, not to cut you off, Mo, but Kyler Murray is at 49, 45, 55, and 43.
I can see Tua around that mark. I wouldn't. Let's say this. I wouldn't be surprised if he's more, but I think that's the mark he should be around based on the winning. I know people look at production, but at the end of the day, no playoff wins. Yeah, your team has gone to playoff, but you have no playoff wins. I think around that production, we're talking about a dude who was a top 5 pick. So I think I can see. I think it should be around that mark what Kyler Murray has, but I can see how it will be more.
Yeah, man. What do you think, Craig? What do you think? How much Tua getting? They said Kyler Murray. That's what I heard.
I think Tua can get around Kyler Murray's range, or maybe a little bit more. I know there were questions. Maybe there still are questions about his concussions or him getting hurt or something like that. I think he put on some weight though, right?
He lost a lot. He lost weight this year.
He lost. Oh, that's what it was. It was the opposite. Okay, he lost. Now that concerns me because he's already he wasn't that like stocky of a quarterback or anything like that, and he's still going to take hits. So that's losing weight at the quarterback position. I don't know about that one. Hopefully he can put on some muscle, or maybe this will make him more elusive or make him more faster. He can maybe run outside the pocket. I don't know, but that just doesn't help the situation to me. But I guess around Kyler Murray range, his team, he has a really good team around him, a really good bunch of players, skill position players around him. So he has more opportunities to me to go out there and make something happen sooner rather than Kyler Murray does. And I think with the market going up, I think he could, at the time Kyler Murray signed his deal versus the time Tua's going to sign his, I think it could be, I think he could get a little bit more because of the market, the way the market is. And like you said, it's better to sign him sooner rather than later because the money's only going to go up. And somebody's going to set the bar even higher. So Tua just has to get paid right now. And I think around Kyler Murray, maybe a little bit more than Kyler Murray range is what I would be saying.
Around 52? 52?
Around that. Yeah, about 52.
What about Herbert? That's what I would say.
Somewhere around there. Because Herbert really hasn't done anything either.
Anything, and he lost a playoff game. But Tua's stats are better.
Herbert is more talented. Herbert is way more talented to me than Tua is. But and then what Herbert's going to have to deal with this year versus like if you put Herbert on the Dolphins, and versus what Tua, you put him on the Chargers, I don't even think it's a conversation. Give Herbert the most money in the league with his age and with the talent around him, what he's able to do with that team, or what he will be able to do with that team. But Tua, he's really good, but he has inconsistency sometimes. But I think 52 is a good number.
52. All right. Okay. All right. Jordan Love. What number we at?
That's tough because he's only done it
That's
for 1
tough.
year. Great
That's
1
tough.
year. I think I need to see one more year out of Jordan Love before I want to try to negotiate another a bigger contract.
I'm about to look up what he's making this year.
But I think I will go higher than if he has another great year like he did this past year, and the team gets to the final or the finals, the NFC Championship game. I think you have to give him.
Jordan Love is making $12 million this year.
Yeah, I think you have to give him like 50, 54, 55. I would look for like 55. If I can get 55 out of that, being that I'm that young and the team is young around me, we can all grow together with the offensive guys. I mean, he has a legit argument, I think, to be up there. In terms
Let me
of
see. I'm trying to see
annual average, or maybe like guarantees or something like that. I think.
And they said, they said Jordan Love said he's not taking less than Trevor Lawrence. Said who?
Jared Goff has got 53.
Jared Goff got 53.
I mean, like he had one really good year. So I mean,
Jordan Love said he's not taking less. He said he's not taking less. That's what Adam Schefter said this morning. Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that's the highest paid then. Or that's 50,
yes.
He's tied with Burrow, I think, with 55. So he's looking at more than 55.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is crazy because it's never the best
give it to him?
Never going to be the best quarterback and be the highest paid.
You never.
Well, you might have it for like a week or something like that, or maybe even a season. But eventually somebody's going to pass you. And your contract that you had that you were the highest paid player is not that anymore.
So do you? How much you think?
No,
How much you think he gets?
I would give him. I would give him more than 55 a year if he goes out and he balls out this year like he did last year, and it's not a fluke or whatever it is.
I give him. So you would let him play on the 12 million?
If he's willing to do that, then yeah, we can go out there and just bet on yourself.
What if he's like, nah? Like, would you start the contracts early? I would start and extend them. I would extend them.
I mean,
I would front load. I would front load this contract. I would sign an extension. I would sign the.
Yeah,
I'll give him a 5-year.
yeah, but if he wants more than what Trevor Lawrence got in terms of
I'll give him 56. I'll give 50. I'll give him 56. I'll give him 56.
That's tough, man. Because I've seen the other guys multiple years go out there and play.
I mean, he could bet on himself, and the price is gonna go up because if he
the
goes,
price is going to go up regardless. I mean, it's going to go.
Yeah. Well, think about it.
He's going to get another one in a couple years.
Yeah, if he bets on himself, if Jordan Love bets on himself and plays the 12 million out, and they go to the championship game or the Super Bowl or the divisional, he's gonna get more than Dak Prescott probably.
He should get more than Dak Prescott.
Dak's probably gonna get paid 60.
Dak's probably got one more contract in him, one more good contract.
Yeah, he's gonna get a 60. He's gonna get. Yeah, this gonna be it. Speaking of Dak Prescott,
he's like 31.
Oh, Mo, you ain't answering the question, Mo. How much you giving Jordan Love? I told you what I'm doing. I'm gonna knock him out early. I'm gonna give him attention early.
Yeah, because of the market, because you want to knock him out early. I think he's going to be. He's going to be get paid, and might some people want to think it's overpaid, but we gotta look at the market. What's your alternative? What you gonna hope on drafting another quarterback? Because ain't no quarterback signed on to go to Green Bay. So that means you had to draft again, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So I think you want to extend him, and so I could see what this year he's playing. Is he playing on that 1 year extension? Because that was a extension.
He making $12 million this year.
If he had one more year, if he has one more year like he did last year, and they go to playoffs again, if he's on that 30+ mark TD passes, and they go to playoffs again,
he's gonna get 60+.
I think he's gonna be above Kyler, almost on that, almost close to what Lawrence just made.
He's gonna get higher. I think he get higher.
He's gonna get higher.
Right.
If he goes to like the NFC Championship game or the NFC Divisional, back-to-back years, you're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have to pay him a lot of money.
Even if he get out of the wild card round again, you gotta look at it. That would be more than what what's name did. That'd be more than what
than that.
Has done, and then you know,
and Trevor Lawrence, yeah,
right. That'd be more than what Trevor Lawrence did, and more than what Kyler Murray has done. You know, so he can say, "Hey, I need more money." You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's up for love, man. I mean, but I if I'm Packers, I'm signing him to an extension. I'm getting it done before training camp. We good. That's it. Because in 6 years from 4 years from now, 3 years from now, he's gonna be 10.
Yep.
He's gonna be 10. So I that's me. I'm pulling what the Eagles do. Like, I ain't doing what the Cowboys. Speaking of the Cowboys, Mo, how much does that get? How much you getting?
I think he getting 60+, yo.
Woo!
I listen. Because look what. Think about this right quick. Think about this.
I get it. Look
at what you got to look at this. Look what what's name just got. Look at what Lawrence. And I think right now I'd rather just compare it to the closest person who just got paid. Look at what Lawrence got, and Dak has outseeded it by stats, winning, all that. And you think about you're comparing it now. That was a 4th round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Lawrence was a number 1 heralded. Everybody like, oh, this is going to be the next gold jacket quarterback and all this stuff. And that, if we, how many people can really say they thought Dak would have an 8-year career starting? Nevertheless, not a lot of people can say that would even be a legitimate 10-year starter. Nevertheless, do the things he's done in this league. So I think he's going to be 60. I know it's darn sure going to be 55. at the lowest.
Jeez.
But I think he might be close to 60, man. A year.
Craig, I totally agree. Craig, what number is that going to be at?
I think he'll go. I'm gonna say like 56, 57. I think he's gonna be.
Okay.
I think he just wants. I mean, not he wants, but I think he's gonna be the highest paid quarterback in the league when it comes to after he signs. So right now it's 55 in terms of per year. So I think he just goes a little bit above that, and then that sets the bar for guys like maybe Tua or Purdy or Love or somebody like that to come in.
If Purdy goes back to Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl or goes deep in the playoffs, he's going to be in that 56, 57 range.
Whatever Purdy does, it's an automatic, like the biggest come up in sports history or something. Go from the 7th round pick and making less than $1 million, and all of a sudden you're going to make 50,
they're gonna have to sign him to 50, 60. They're gonna have
60 million, making like 60 million times of what you actually average, a little bit more than what you actually average per season.
Because if they play it out right, they can build around Purdy. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna have to pay him. You ain't gonna let him walk. And that would be the biggest. That would be the biggest come up, Craig. That would be the biggest come up.
I don't know any other one that could go from maybe Jokic, but because he was second round.
Maybe he was second round pick.
But I mean, it's. I don't know too many people that have had the success. Tom Brady, obviously, but like the success to go from what he was making because he was the last round pick or whatever to
Shannon Sharp. Well.
Yeah, but the
money wasn't big back then, so it was big to be in our age. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you would probably have to like.
If Shannon Sharp played today, he'd be a $60-70 million. Not a year, but you know what I'm talking about. You would have signed a contract like today. But yeah, that's
the quarterback position. Obviously, is.
How much you think Purdy gonna make? Say Purdy goes back to the NFC Championship game.
He's over 60. I think I would give him over 60.
You're going to have to. He's going to be like, I got to be the highest paid because look at my track record.
Granted, he does have arguably the best team around him, but I mean, he still has to go.
That's not his fault. That's not his fault, man.
I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm saying he still has to go out there and he has to produce something on the field, which is what he's been doing the last 2 seasons, especially last year.
He's been doing his job. You can't. What can you ask more for Brock Purdy? You know what I'm saying? He's playing excellent. Like if you give somebody the tools around you and he gets to the Super Bowl and loses to Kansas Patrick Mahomes, like I think in overtime, I think that's phenomenal, man.
All you really ask Brock Purdy to do is just not turn the ball over, which is something he does.
That's it.
He has really good players at skill positions. He just got a new wide receiver. I don't know where Ayuk's going to be in a couple years, but other than that, man, he's out there and he just plays. So
speaking about, hold on, let me look at Brock Purdy's.
I know his contract's on like 900 and some thousand.
Yeah, I don't even think he's making $1 million this year, is he?
Nah, he's not.
Yeah, he's at $1 million. That's
what I mean.
He's making $1 million. He's making $1 million this year.
Some thousand, they're making like 60 million or close to 60 million.
Yeah. Right now he's at $1 million this year and then $1 million next year. Yep.
That is a come up.
So they're probably going to sign him next year. They're probably going to extend him next year. Knowing San Francisco, they're just going to get on it early.
Listen,
they're going to have to get on it early.
If they go back to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl,
62.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What you say, Craig? 62
for Purdy?
Yeah.
I think he's getting over 60. I think it probably might depend on what the other quarterbacks get that are.
Yeah, he's getting over 60.
Possibly have to sign like Love and Tua.
He's getting over 60.
Yeah, I would give him over 60. He's not the flashiest name. He's not the best quarterback, but
I ain't gonna
You
lie.
gotta look at what he's
I
been
go.
able to do. If he goes
Yeah,
to the
the
end
numbers
of the
don't lie. Numbers don't lie. You know what? I'm
he
not
just
gonna
puts up
lie.
good numbers.
He puts up good numbers. I'm not gonna lie. It's Jordan Love. Jordan Love plays out another year, and he has another year like last year. He could ask for 62. But anyway, speaking of Ayuk, Craig, do you think San Francisco trades him? What do you think
Uh,
about that?
I would not, but I don't see him. I wouldn't put it past him. I've seen teams trade players that I just didn't think should have been traded, like Chris McCaffrey. So it happens all the time. They just drafted another wide receiver, possibly his replacement. So it's definitely possible. I mean, I think they even played with each other in college, both of those guys.
They did. They did. Ricky
Yeah,
Purcell. Yeah, yeah. They
so
played at Arizona State.
they know each other. So I mean, I think that it's probably out there. I don't know if teams are making offers for IU because he had a phenomenal season last year. I think it's the best season ever. And I mean, if you take that option away from Purdy, then that might affect Brock Purdy as well. So I think you have to kind of either tie those two together somehow and try to make it work and try to sign them whatever you can. But at the same time, you know you have to sign Purdy. They're kind of in the same situation as Dak and Lamb. They got
Yeah.
two players they need to sign at arguably two very important positions, and they got to try to figure out a way to make it work. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I would try to keep them at all costs unless there was like we used up all our options. We got no other choice as a last resort, and then you got to.
I mean, I would probably trade Debo and sign a Ayuk and Purdy.
Trading Debo wouldn't be bad either.
Or restructuring Debo's contract and restructuring Kittle's contract too, man. So I could re-sign Purdy and Ayuk. That's the future for real.
They just signed Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah. You gotta just lock it up. Lock it up. What you think, Mo? What you think about Brandon Ayuk? You think they're gonna?
I can see
they're gonna trade him.
I think it's going either way, but I think them drafting that first round wideout was a telling sign. But also, I think that was also a best value pick because their roster stacked. So I think they wanted to cover themselves just in case it went bad this offseason. They had to trade them. They felt like they got another receiver to where because of their scheme, you know, he can kind of Pascal can kind of get in where he fit in. I think they should sign him. I think they should keep Ayuk. You want to give your young quarterback the best options. You don't want to put him in a situation where you pay him and then you're downsizing. You know, you give him the money, you downsize him. Now everybody looking at him like he ain't earned the money. Now everybody looking at him like he's wrong. So I think you want to give it, but you got to look at it though. I think Craig just said that we just talked about it. They got one more year and they're going to make some decisions. They ain't just Purdy and what's name. That roster was built to win and they haven't won the big one yet. Some people gonna get on. You ain't gonna be able to pay everybody. Some people want to go soon, unless they're gonna take hometown discounts.
Maybe, but I agree with you. So they got to make some tough decisions.
You got Fred Warner. You got the dudes on the defense side of the ball. Then you got
Bosa. Yeah, Bosa's the highest paid. Well, was the highest paid.
You got to make some decisions. You got your corner. The corner they have. Like you got some people who've been doing it at a high level that's gonna want their money.
And once you pay the quarterback, you got to make sure you draft and develop. For real. You got to.
I know Trent already got paid, but by the time Trent probably get off of his contract or whatever, he might be looking at retirement. He might go somewhere.
He probably gonna retire. He probably gonna retire, man. I mean, I think Trent Williams is 36.
Yeah, I know he's definitely on the plus side of 30. He's definitely on the plus side of it.
Yeah, he's 35.
Yeah. You look at it. I don't know what the left his contract is left years on it.
He's about to be 36, so
Yeah.
it'll be 36 when the season starts.
I I think if whenever he finishes his contract here in San Fran, I think he's gonna retire. I don't see him, going somewhere, especially if it's a project or rebuild, just to make money. I don't see Trent Williams doing that. Especially with the headache he had in Washington. I don't think he would do that. Downsize after all that winning in San Fran just to go somewhere just for that.
Yeah, I think I don't know his contract. He would be. I don't know when did he sign it? Oh yeah, he signed a 6-year 138 on 2021. So dang, 6-year 138. Golly, what does that look like? Let me look at this contract real quick. I just want to see what this contract look like. I wonder like how much dead cap. Oh, so 2026 Mo. It'll be his cap be 7 million. And he'll be 38. He might retire.
Yeah.
He might retire. He might do one more lap, but he's 38. Last big contract. He might play that thing out. You know. He might, or they could redo it and extend him. You know how they do. They restructure it, extend him maybe, but I mean, I think at this point, I think they're just gonna let him play it out. You know what I'm saying? I think they're gonna let it play. I think they're gonna let it play out, man. At least for these another 3 years. But all right, guys, we are out. We're gonna see y'all next week. We're gonna probably talk about NBA free agency. We're gonna do some way too early, maybe coaching firings. I know most don't like that. Way too early hot seat. Maybe we're gonna throw in some predictions in there. Who gonna win the NFL MVP? Who gonna be? Who's gonna go to the playoffs? So, all right, guys, we're gonna see y'all next week. Remember, check us out on everywhere you get your podcasts at. Remember, we're on YouTube every Wednesday, probably starting around 7:15, 7:20, man. So we are out, guys. We will see y'all next Wednesday. We are out. Peace.
I got 3. Yes.